Hello and welcome to episode 43 of the Craving Crypto podcast. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about whether Bitcoin is a risk asset or not, and whether it will rise or fall with a stock market crash. So let's get right into this. Well, I was sleeping. It looks like we did go ahead and get the bear boat full force with all the bears hitting their short sell trigger button and stopping me out of some of my long positions. This is something that occurs in trading. Thank God for stop losses. Thankfully, we've still got two primary options, so there's no real reason to jump the gun either way. Also, I have some discussion to go over with today's subject title, which is whether we're going to see Bitcoin as kind of a safe haven from any type of a stock market crash. There's lots of factors and variables to be thinking about here, but as far as pure technical analysis goes, we did get a bear break of that triangle. If we measure the triangle, we can get a move out of this and understand where we might see some type of a bottom. So we can just put that at the break, and it looks like we're getting pretty close to a target being met for that triangle. Looks like the target would actually be this support level that we recently bounced off of. So I would be watching that support level as any type of a support for some of the more medium-term positions that you may be holding in the crypto space. Because if this low right here gets taken out, then there's no potential for this inverse head and shoulders pattern that I have drawn. This being a left shoulder, this being a head, and this being a right shoulder. So again, if this major support level fails at the $180 billion level, then we're likely to see this 176 and even a potential of the 150, which I know you guys probably do not want to hear, but as an analyst, I have to tell it as it is. So if we start to see some weakness in the market, we'll be watching that as a potential. But as you guys know, right now, we could also see a support bounce right here. So the best thing to do for me, I'm not getting back into any positions. I'm not jumping the gun on shorting the market. This move was very impulsive, but we do need to have this major support level taken out before we are in full bear mode. With Bitcoin also, because Bitcoin, as you guys all know, has been holding at 6,000 in that range of support all through 2018. So that level has to be broken below for us to really see full bear mode come back into the markets. This was a really quick and intense sell-off, but again, you guys, this triangle was unbiased. It could have gone either direction. I was leaning towards the bulls due to the short-term uptrend we are experiencing, but as you guys know, that's an unbiased pattern. It can play out however it wants to. We're just going to be watching the market, see if we get a little bit of a curl, see if we drop down to this support level a little bit, maybe curl at the 193 levels, start to see a little bit of a higher high pattern, and get a better perspective of what's really going on in the total market cap over the next little while. There is that weakness aspect. It does give a little bit more strength to the bears right here, as option 2 being the one that we're going to see. But we just want to see more market structure. Once we do get a better picture and an idea, we'll set ourselves up with some trades and then play it as we go from there. But like I said, right now, this is just in dropping mode, and there's major support, and the support is close. So you don't want to short right next to support, and you really don't want to buy something that's still potentially dropping. Now, clicking on the totalmarketcap.com, we see straight blood across the markets. We are now seeing those 10 and 20% drops in some of these coins. If we want to look at what the top mover would be, not True USD, but for some reason True USD is worth $1.03 today, you guys. Shout out to one of my VIP members for letting me know about this coin. They wrote a really detailed blog post about the fundamentals, which you guys can click in the document of this video to read through if you're interested in what this coin does as far as the fundamentals go. I personally do not do as much fundamental analysis. It still interests me, but I don't base my trading investing decisions on it. But it's still super cool, so check out that article that was written by him. He showed me this coin, and then I set some alerts on it, and sure enough, today it's breaking out 42% on the upside. So this is really the best mover in the total market cap that I can see right now that I really like the setup for. There was this falling wedge pattern, then it made a bigger triangle pattern and had a volume spike that exceeds the size of the volume spike that we had right here on the breakout. So that's a really good sign for this one. If we do get a little bit of short-term panic, that would be an awesome buying opportunity. This is up 43%, so you guys do not want to be hitting that FOMO buy button right now. Please wait for some type of a red candle. Don't be emotional, you guys. There's plenty of opportunities to get in on this coin, especially if it starts to make a larger degree uptrend and higher highs on a bigger picture time frame. This is one that I'm watching, and again, I wanted to shout out the VIPs for pointing that out to me. We all work as a community in there, which I think is really awesome. People are sharing their ideas back and forth. We've got an area where you guys can share your favorite articles, things that you've been reading, charts and analysis. So it's really awesome to see everybody kind of coming together and sharing information. I know personally, I've had VIP members point out a coin before where I was like, oh, and look at it. And it's like, that's a good trade setup. So we all kind of help each other in there. And I think that's really cool. Yeah, Raven coin is going pretty good right now. Again, with the total market cap, we just need to have some type of sentiment shift. We have dropped 78% from the high, you guys. So we're at areas in the big picture for the total market cap where we should be seeing bounces. We're in really oversold conditions, reversal territory at some point, right? We just don't know exactly what dollar price that is. If somebody did, of course, they would be the next richest people in the world because they could just go leverage that. But that's not what trading is about. It's about playing the market, using the momentum in your favor when it is, and trading when the conditions are good. You guys, I want to be talking about whether Bitcoin is a risk asset today and whether if the stock market crashes, which we have seen a pretty drastic drop from the support levels that I was watching in the stock market. So if we get a trend line failure, which we haven't got yet, then we could see further downside continuation with the stock market. I made a video saying, is 2008 going to happen again? And pointed out some possibilities and some market structure to watch out for, and noted that it was on a good uptrend, so that could continue, or we could see some support failures here. So if, you guys, if the stock market, remember, we have not made more lower lows. We took out some lows, but we're still ranging near a short-term support area. But if we get a trend line failure on really the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, things could look a little bit intense for the stock market. So let me just go ahead and pull up the NASDAQ real quick and just show you one more time what type of structure you guys should be looking at. But a lot of people on the internet have been discussing, you know, what this might mean for Bitcoin and what this could mean for the crypto space in general. So I just wanted to chime in my 2 cents, you guys. Now, of course, these corrections happen really on average about once a year in the stock market. And then sometimes every so often you get a major correction that's like 40%. And then every once in a really great while you get a huge correction that's like 80% or 78%. With this correction, this could fall into the category of one of the small yearly corrections that comes. So we could see this reverse right here. But if there's a trend line failure of this wave, right here, this is a trend line. So if this fails as support, this is painting a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 structure. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. So if there's a wave failure and a trend line failure, and we start to get that structure, we could see some downside continuation in the stock market here. And again, you guys, you'd be wanting to sell on that bull trap after the trend line failure, when everybody thinks it's going to return to normal, and then it really goes back down in for that deeper correction because it was a bull trap and it needed to make an ABC correction back onto support. That's just kind of one thing that I'm really watching with the stock market. If we get some type of a trend line failure, things could get intense, and you'll want to reduce your risk on the bull trap and aim to buy the dip. Because, you guys, if this is painting an ABC right here, that would still be subwaves for a bigger 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave out of this. As you can see, that's very clear Elliott structure. And this would be a 1 wave, meaning that's a 3. So there's a lot of, there could be a fifth wave out of that. There's lots of upside potential in the big picture for the stock market. But just on the short term, you really don't want to have to ride a 40% drop, I'm assuming, if we do get one. So that's kind of how you play that. Now, how this would affect Bitcoin, I've got the Brave Liquid Index. This is comparing it to the S&P 500. And we're looking at some correlations between, really, we don't have, I mean, Bitcoin is such a new asset, you guys. This was created after the financial crisis in 2008. And because of that, we don't have a ton of data to see how correlated it is to the stock market and the S&P 500 in general. But what we can see here is that there has been positive and negative correlations between them in the past. In the beginning, they seem to be very positively correlated. If they go up together, they go down together. And then this trend right here, they also seem to really go up together. And they hit a point sometime in 2014 when we started to get a different type of story, you guys. And this is when we started to see that the prices of Bitcoin drop and then the prices of the stock market increase. So this was a negative correlation. We started to see that maybe there is some type of inverse relationship between Bitcoin and the S&P 500 in the world of stocks. Now, the stock market then continued to see a correction as Bitcoin broke out. So again, there was that correlation. And then they started to ride up together. There was a lot of euphoria in all of the markets. We went parabolic in both Bitcoin first and then the S&P 500 after. And then they kind of, well, Bitcoin corrected first right when the S&P started to really pick up in momentum. Then they both kind of dropped together right here. And then Bitcoin dropped further and the S&P picked up. So there still is signs of inverse correlations between the two. This could get stronger, you guys. I'm definitely going to be watching this. And if we see a trend line failure in stocks, then crypto moves up, that's going to be really good looking for the crypto space as a whole. Again, watch that as a sign of strength. If they both bounce up together, that's going to be a sign that we're going to see continuation in all of these markets for a little while, which is totally possible. There's lots of kind of outcomes that we could see where just an intense technical point for both of these markets, both crypto and stocks, with these trend lines, with these major support levels at 6,000. Either way, we're going to get some very exciting movement on the upside or the downside with all of these markets. And there's different outcomes. Now, another scenario is that stocks push higher and crypto goes down. What we really want to watch is that $6,000 level of support for Bitcoin, 6,000 to 59. If that can hold strong, then Bitcoin's going to be looking more strength, even if the S&P starts to drop. Now, if the trend line starts to fail on the S&P or the NASDAQ, we're going to see this as weakness in the stock market. You'll want to reduce some risk and sell in the bull trap, setting your stop losses at the low of the bull trap. So again, you guys, that looks like this. Stops right here. So if it continues to go up, you still even ride more upside, but if it drops, you don't have to ride the full 40% correction that happens every once in a while in the world of stocks. You guys, it's really about watching these major support levels, watching these trend lines, and then basing your plans around whatever could happen considering the different scenarios. Now, for me personally, the stock market did see a pretty big correction. One thing that's concerning me is overvalued tech stocks, specifically stuff like Netflix and even like Amazon. There's some stocks, you guys, I'm not saying that all of them are overvalued, but a lot of them are starting to look overvalued on the short term. And I just wanted to point out right here that this is Netflix on the top, and this is the internet bubble, the NASDAQ internet bubble. And there's just a lot of Fibonacci and fractal relationships between both of these market cycles. I posted this on my TradingView. If you don't follow me yet, you can, Dallin_Anderson. This also is showing a bit of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave. So if this sees the same type of a thing, you guys, Netflix is going to see a pretty big drop in value. Something that levels that most people holding this are not going to want to see. If we start to get dropping in tech stocks, we could have this ABC back onto the support level before pushing higher in the NASDAQ and in the S&P 500. So that's something I'm really being open-minded to, is this fractal comparison. I kind of don't hope this happens just because I know a lot of people are going to be on the wrong side of this cycle. I don't think that I can get this out quick enough. So go ahead and hit that share button, you guys, if you just share this with as many people as possible, because I really believe that if this happens, just be aware as a potential, you know. Open-mindedness is so key in trading and investing. So just look at this, share this with them. It'd kind of suck if this happens. Then again, you can short this. So there is profit to be made if we do see this type of a move in the stock world. And again, you guys, if this inverse correlation with Bitcoin and the stocks happen again, stocks drop, Bitcoin goes up, that'd be really good for us crypto traders. So that's kind of my view. Lots of options, lots of key technical points to be watching, you guys. Stay open-minded, stay big picture, keep all of your money in safe areas. Obviously, keep your risk management in place. If you start to have trend line failures, reduce your risk. Don't be too exposed to the market. It's much better to be underexposed than to be overexposed. That's my views on that kind of whole scenario. Go ahead and click on Binance if you want to do cryptocurrency trading. Click on CoinMarketCap chart if you want to look at the analysis we did in today's video on the total market cap. You can click on Coinigy if you want to do technical analysis on altcoins. You can use the referral link. And BitMEX if you want to do leverage trading, not recommended for beginners. My Bitcoin address if you want to send me donations and you like what I do, you can send them that way. And my VIP course and signals if you want to get more hands-on with your trading and more discussion on trading on a daily basis in the Discord and with our signals area. Thank you so much for tuning in today's episode. I hope that you learned something. If you have any questions at all, go ahead and drop them in the box below. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next video. As always, stay profitable out there.